Before we get into the show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. The Pelicans lost by 22. They really lost by like 35, to be honest with you. They got absolutely blown out at Madison Square Garden. This podcast is sponsored by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Crew Media, located at 918 Poydras Street by the Superdome. Give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you or someone you know has been involved in an accident. Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Crew Media, joined with Chaz. Just me and you tonight. Chaz, unfortunately, we wasted a Saturday night watching that horrendous performance. And look, guys, I'm just going to be very clear with you. Tonight's I have nothing positive to say tonight. So if you don't want to continue watching, you can just log off now. I'm giving you that right. I'm giving you that heads up that nothing good came out tonight. The Knicks played last night in Washington, in which Chaz, if I'm correct, they came back from a 16-point deficit. Is that right in the second half?
Yeah, it was
I think I heard AD said that. So they spent a lot of energy coming back. Then they had a fly from Washington, New York, and the Pelicans were rested. Went to Jose Alvarado's retirement at his high school, having a good time, full of good vibes. You'd think they come out ready to play, and they get crushed again in the first quarter. I'm about to get to you in a second. The coaching staff made a change. They're like, we need to prioritize defense. So we're going to start Josh Richardson and Herb Jones. Okay, well, this is the second time in a row you've been blitzed in the first quarter with that, and you're going to bench Trey Murphy. It's the second time in a row you got blitzed in the first quarter, or you had at least a double-digit deficit. Then Herb Jones only plays 13 minutes tonight. So a lot of people were really complaining that Herb Jones is the problem, and he's the reason why we're losing. Well, he played 13 minutes tonight, went 2 of 4 from the field, had 6 points. 3 rebounds, whatever. I know he went 0 from 1 from deep, but whatever. He's not a 3-point shooter. I know that. Y'all need to start understanding that.
Right.
But once again, Chaz, another lackluster performance. Another performance where we start slow, we start to show signs of life, and then it just falls apart again. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, and then they're not going to be answered. I mean, listen, not having Zion Williamson, you should take a little bit of a dip, but not this big of a dip.
Yeah. Well, speaking of questions, I have a question. Do you think this Pelicans team tonight could have beaten Jose's high school team?
I mean,
you think that? I don't know. You know what? That was disrespectful. It would have been a tough game, but I think the high school team would have, they would have pulled it, in the end. They would have won it. I'll say this, man. They keep it real. This summed up everything about the coaching staff, my complaints about Brandon, and the misuse of JV. And it was early in the first quarter while I was just like, oh yeah, this game is over, right? Brandon draws a double. Right? He does a jump pass, right? Jump pass. That was the first mistake, right? Jump pass. But you let that slide. JV's wide open. Like he's like wide open underneath the basket after he had just had a strong finish, for a dunk. He's wide open underneath the basket. Does Brandon pass it to him? No. He makes a great pass. This was a great pass to the corner to Herb Jones, who airballs a 3, right?
He was in the corner. Well, I want you to once again say corner. He was in the corner
He was in the left corner, airballs a 3, right? That goes to show you. For one, credit to Brandon, it was an excellent pass. The pass was excellent. The decision-making was poor because just like when people say know your personnel, you have to know who you're on the floor with as well, right? JV's wide open, bro. Like wide open. Herb's also wide open, but he's wide open for a reason, right? And this goes back to coaching. Coach, look, man. And I just gotta make it plain. Look, coach, whatever vendetta you got to move on, brother. Because if BI makes that pass to Trey and Trey shoots and misses it, whatever. It was the right decision. You know what I'm saying? He just happened to miss the shot. But you're putting Brandon in a disadvantageous position. I mean, predicament, because Herb, he shouldn't even be out here. Herb shouldn't be out here in the starting unit, coach. The thing made no sense. Look, as long as you got CJ, Brandon, and JV on the floor, you're never going to be a good defensive team.
And that's the thing.
It don't matter.
They're prioritizing defense, and they've given up. They keep getting that same group keeps getting blitzed. So, like, once again, there was a clip there, I think, late in the second, Chaz. Brandon again. It's a two-man game. CJ screens for Brandon. And CJ doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know where he's going. I mean, he looked like my wife. He just got lost in space. I mean, completely and utterly out of the play. He screens, rolls, and stands out of bounds. JV's in the corner, 2 feet next to Trey. And meanwhile, Brandon is getting triple teamed. It has no options on the right side, and everybody's on the left side. And Josh Richardson's 30 feet from the goal. So Brandon comes into a triple team. JV cuts from the corner to like the dunker spot. Brandon throws it to JV, and JV runs into the same triple team because there's nobody else on the right side. I mean, it's high school level. It's not even high school, bro. It's like 8th grade level basketball.
Bro, you know what? And I gotta keep it real. I gotta say this. I have to say this. If you go to a restaurant and the food is bad, you're not gonna say, I need to speak to the sous chef. No, you want to talk to the chef or the owner or the manager. Yo, look, I know Willie doesn't have a ton of responsibilities on this thing. I know Willie's just the guy that opens the facility doors. He just carries the keys and opens the facility door, right? But at the same time, coach, you have to know that you're a player. You know what I'm saying? You're an actual player. You know schematically things that won't work. You know schematically having Josh, who's not he's not a great 3-point shooter, and Herb on the floor with a struggling, BI who's not a great 3-point shooter. I think he went like 0 for something crazy tonight. I stopped really paying attention. He might have hit 1 or 2, right? Then CJ is not really shooting well. It's like, coach, you're doing your better players a disservice because you're being stubborn with your rotations. And a lot of stuff just doesn't make sense. If you are planning on going defense, why not throw Dyson out there? I'm not a fan of Dyson, but none of the logic matches. Like, nothing makes sense.
What? And a couple people quote tweeting me tonight, and I'm thinking about it, I agree with them. They're like, it's funny that you think Dyson would even get minutes with Josh Richardson coming to New Orleans. And I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, but like, you're just stunting his growth. Like, you're also stunting Kyra's growth. And I'm not saying Kyra and Dyson changed the game tonight, but you're just stunting their growth. I'd rather if Dyson worked in the G League. Just go to the G League, get your ankle right, get some reps in, get back into. Instead, tonight, he's on the roster. He gets cleared to play, and he doesn't play. I mean, he played the last 3 minutes. Like, whatever. That didn't matter. He didn't play tonight.
Right.
So what are we doing with him? And if you're gonna make a decision, if you're gonna prioritize Josh Richardson, in which he's been great, I have no problem with Josh Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Dyson's 19 years old and is just gonna rot away on the bench. He hasn't played basketball in a month, and so we're gonna clear him tonight, and then we're just gonna sit him on the bench. Once again, use the effing G League team down in Birmingham. Caught myself down in Birmingham and get him ready to go. Instead, he's up in New York and just sitting on the bench. Like,
we saw
what good does that do for anybody?
We saw the same thing happen with Trey last year, right? To whereas Trey has his flaws, yes, but you don't want to be going into the second season with guys saying, okay, what does he do? Like, what does he do well? He didn't get a fair shot last year. It's really, it just doesn't make any sense at this point. I don't think, Dyson, for example, I don't think Dyson has an incredibly high ceiling. But at the same time, you need to find that out now. You need to know what you're working with now, right? You're reaching, the team is playing so bad, you're reaching, should we give Garrett Temple a few minutes? Territory. That's how bad game management has been across the board. I'm talking about staff, players, this everything. And it's really inexcusable. You aren't this bad on paper. There's no reason.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
People are still blaming Herb Jones.
Yeah, that's insane. But here's the thing with that, right? Here's the thing with that. Yes, Herb Jones should be able to make a wide open 3, right? But when you know that he can't, you shouldn't put him in that position. He does other things. He does other things well. You know what I'm saying? That like you're not giving him things to work with. You're not maximizing his skill set. And some of that is the players. Some of that is the players doing whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because that has to be taken into account as well. Because I can't believe that the coaches are saying, yo, you go out there and take the most difficult shot possible. You go out there, don't feed this wide open center offensive threat. If JV's nothing else, he's an offensive threat. You don't go out there and feed him. You don't box out. You don't rebound. You don't like. I can't believe the coaches are saying this. So the players have to come out with some enthusiasm. And you know, a lot of guys, they've turned. You know, we counted too much on role players. You know, again, Jose, really good player, cool story. Najee Marshall, really solid player, cool story. But the dudes who make the money, they have to step up and be held accountable. Same thing with his coaching staff.
Presented by DraftKings, the official sports betting part of Boot Crew Media. Chaz, you know, back to your point with the Herb Corner thing. Most of the times with coaching, you want to put players in the right position. I mean, that's not just in basketball; it's in any sport you play. Right. That's what maximizes the player. That's what makes you a good coach. You know, what can I take? Every player has a different, you know, ability, good assets, so on and so forth. How can you make them? How can you use them? And what I don't understand is Willie Green and even Collins and a couple other Warrior members or Pelican coaching staff that worked with the Warriors and Kevin Durant and Draymond Green for those 3 years that Willie Green was there. They're the perfect example of Draymond Green. You watched him every single night. I mean, the way the Warriors use Draymond Green, people sag off of him all the time. Basically, the game plan is let 23 shoot the basketball and we live with the results. You take away Curry and Thompson. Well, when you put Draymond in the actions, you dribble handoff, and he's passing and following and screening and rolling, and he's making the connecting pass. Like, that's hard to game plan for, and that's how you get other shooters, you know, into a rhythm. With Herb Jones, they make him he's not a good shooter. He's never been a good shooter. They make him our primary shooter. So that's a problem.
He's our 3-point threat out there. Like he's targeted as the 3-point threat.
Everyone's like, why does Herb Jones get all these outlet passes? Because the coaching staff is putting him in the prime position in the corner. So everyone's just yelling at Herb Jones. He sucks. Yet you're literally taking his worst part of his game and maximizing it in this offense. And that's the problem. So Herb Jones, who can finish to the rim. You've seen some explosive dunks. He's a smart player. He's a good passer. Was a point guard at Alabama. Is now in his role. His role is to stay in the corner. And when Brandon and CJ and they break down the defense and JV, whatever, kick it out to you, you shoot it. Well, he's shooting 27%, man. Bro, it's not working.
I refuse to believe that guys come here and they leave their talent where they came from. They leave their skill sets where they came from. I believe a lot of this is I think the mistake that I would hate to see us make, I'm talking about us, even as people who cover the team, is that we really shouldn't presume that Collins and Willie Green had a significant impact on the Warriors winning. I'm
not saying they had an impact, but they were there every single day. You saw how Draymond Green, how Steve Kerr and everybody, how they used him and made him an asset.
But hey, look,
they've been doing the same shit for 10 years, dude.
Yeah, but look, not only that, Willie Green, you played against it. So he wasn't even like there. He was like in it. Like he still doesn't know. No, Willie Green played for like the Clippers. He probably matched up against that offense. At least the Mark Jackson version of it. Like he probably matched up against Steph and Clay and Draymond at least once or twice. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's easy when the talent level is so high. Like again, when you watch when we went on that 7-game win streak, right? I kept saying, like, bro, I still don't think this team is good. We're winning in spite of not calling timeouts at the right time, not missing rotations. Guys were clanking wide open threes on the opposing team. You know what I'm saying? We were getting offensive boards with Zion, and there was, a little more space on the floor because you had one less mid-range guy on the floor. with CJ. But the truth is, it's like that wasn't the real team. And again, Patrick Mahomes versus Baker Mayfield.
You not just compare Brandon to Baker Mayfield. Come on,
I didn't say nobody's name. You just compared Brandon to Baker Mayfield
because I know you too well. I do have to read this, and this pours like salt in the wound here. Coach Green, we have to be better, and I gotta hold our guys more accountable. Hold myself more accountable.
Willie Green clearly watches the show.
That standard in which we played with tonight is not us. How many times have we heard accountability over the last week? What's going on?
Well, they clearly watched the show, right? They clearly watched the show. And I'm sure that Willie Green has one of these shirts, these season derailing shirts somewhere, you know, I'm sure Griff. Because look, I had an order. Someone ordered like 12 shirts. It had to be Griff. It had to be, right? Because these shirts are expensive. They're $30-31 right now. So it had to be Griff. So the thing is, Coach, it's easy to talk about accountability. It's easy to say that, but you have to, the players, in order to hold someone accountable, the players have to be receptive to it, right? And again, it's not his fault because it was a great pass, just the decision was poor. When Brandon made that pass to Herb in the corner, a timeout should have been called immediately, and there should have been a back and forth between Brandon and Willie Green. The back and forth should have been, Brandon, you had JV wide open underneath. Why would you pass it to Herb, who's not a three-point shooter? And Brandon should have said, well, Coach, why he out here in the corner if he's not a three-point shooter? Why you got him out here? So it should have been an immediate back and forth. And it goes to show you that, you know, another word, I would have thought Willie Green would have said tonight we didn't play with force, and that starts with me. That's what I thought he was going to say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to ask you this. You can't put this on Brandon tonight.
Hell no. Not individually.
Okay. I want to clear that. I just think that do you think that obviously Zion changes a lot in this lineup, but do you think that Coach Green gives Brandon the best chance to succeed and maximize him, or do you think they don't use him correctly?
I think both. Well, I'll say this. I do think that Brandon has a little bit of carte blanche with how the offense is ran. Like if he sees something he likes, he likes to play Kobe.
He should have that power though. He's got to have that power.
He should have that power to a point. You know, he should have that power to a point. But I also think that I just think the staff has no idea what's going on. To be totally transparent, bro. Like when the Knicks had that outlet dunk or whatever in the fourth quarter, they went up 30 and they were dancing and celebrating. Nobody got pushed. No one threw a basketball at nobody. There wasn't no technical foul called. You let them do that. And I saw the leaders of this team just walk. They literally turned their back and just walked away to their side of the bench.
I did see Brandon. He threw the ball at the goal or whatever, got teed up, which is a ridiculous technical foul. But he threw
that was before that.
That was before that. Was the frustration factor. The one thing that it's just like you look at the Knicks and you see Jalen Brunson. I know they do a lot of dribbling, a lot of ISO ball, but I mean, Julius Randle was wide open tonight. Jalen Brunson had moments where he was
RJ Barrett was wide open.
Barrett was wide open. Why is Brandon never open? And like I just compared those three guys to Brandon, and I don't think any three of them better offensively. As an offensive talent, Brandon Ingram, I think, is above all three of those people. Yeah. So why do they generate open looks and Brandon doesn't? It's a scheme. It's just a scheme thing. I know he's a tough shot maker, but why is every shot tough? Seriously, why is every shot tough?
I think it is I still think it's a combination of both, because tonight he did have a lot of wide open threes and he just missed.
And that's gonna happen.
And he had a couple middies that I trust him to make, most of the time, that he just missed.
Would you say they were?
No. A couple of these wasn't contested. A couple of these, like they just were short. Like he kind of started cooking a little bit.
I'm more of like, you just don't ever get easy looks. I'm talking about just a simple curl to the back, a back door, a simple curl with a layup.
Justin,
when's the last time he's dunked the basketball?
It's the players, bro. This is why it's the players.
CJ McCollum's not a point guard. He's not a point guard, man.
Oh yeah,
But we talked about this a while ago. I mean, how did Griffin see this? I mean, this is awful. I know Point Zion. I get it, but like,
well, this is why I say it's the players, bro. And I say it's the players more than the staff, because you saw what great players could do with the Nets, with James Harden, KD, and Kyrie. When healthy, they were a hell of a team. They were on their way to sweeping the Bucks. And no one's gonna say Steve Nash is a great player. I mean, great coach at all, right? Perfect example. Fast break. I think you had I know it was Najee, Trey, and maybe CJ running the fast break.
First half.
They fumbling the ball. No one knows what's happening. Najee makes the pass to Trey. Got what should have been an offensive foul. He fouled Brunson, ran him over. No refs don't call it. Trey gets the dunk. Points. Look how sloppy a 3-on-1 fast break was with Jalen Brunson as the defender on the fast break. No space. Everyone was running like Justin. They were running like this. Like you're running like this. Dyson can't dribble. It's just like come on, man.
Don't you start with Dyson, man.
It's the players, bro. Some of it is the players. A lot of it is the coaches, but some of it is the players.
Can we talk about some last thing I want to talk about? It's been on my mind all day. I wanted Brandon to play 40 minutes the other night in Toronto, right? Because they had that really good run late there in the third quarter against Toronto. They cut it to 8, and then we made the sub for CJ for Brandon. Well, tonight, I don't know if you noticed, but the 2.5 minute mark, CJ came in for Jose Alvarado, not Brandon Ingram. So do you think that Brandon Ingram needs to play like 40 minutes a night from here on out in order to win, or are you worried about burning him out? Because at this point, you ain't winning. This ain't working.
It depends on the goals, right? Do you want to win? Then you need.
Well, I don't feel like we want to win. Why? I mean, do you think we want? Does it look like we want to win? It does not look like we want to win.
I mean, well, if you got a bunch of players that don't want to win, then you just need to get rid of them. Like that. That's what it boils down to. I remember Chris Paul was playing, and you couldn't take Chris Paul out the game. Like some nights.
I know he's never won a championship, but he's a winner.
He's been winning. Yeah. For his Brandon playing 40 minutes, yes, I do think he should be playing significant minutes at 25 years old in his 7th season. But Brandon also doesn't play back-to-backs at this point. I don't even know if Brandon's on a minutes restriction. Like, I have no idea what's going on with Brandon night to night. Like, if you would have told me tonight that Brandon's out, like with no explanation, I'd have been like, okay, that makes sense. Like I wouldn't have really questioned it too much. I'd have been like, okay. But that's just it's a difficult situation to navigate. I
feel like we're just back to square one with Brandon. Like Zion goes out, and I feel like Brandon just has no freaking help and has to do it. He just has to do it all. I'm
gonna say this, Justin. When you got 2 guys making $30 million and a top 5 offensive center, you are the help. Ain't no way in the world you're not 30 points worse than the Knicks. You're not that, like, on paper. Then you shouldn't be max guys, because I could have gotten 2 $15 million players who would have given me some effort. I could have got a couple of Will Bartons from a couple of years ago that would have given me some effort. These guys can't just keep disappearing. You know what I'm saying? To Brandon's credit, had a solid game against Toronto. Thought CJ was awful tonight. I thought CJ's been disappearing for quite a while now. I don't know if he's hurt, because he still got that thumb issue. So I don't know what's going on with that. But yet and still, man, you making the big bucks. It costs to be the boss. That's what it boils down to.
Pelicans play Orlando Monday night at home. Let's see if we can stop the skid. They've lost 3 in a row. I have not looked good outside the All-Star break. Presented by Company Burger, located 4600 Ferret Street. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your thoughts and let us know what you thought of the 128-106 loss to the Knicks. See ya.